We're now reaching the end of the film, but I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about making it happen, about creating a successful repairable product. The robust method gives you the logic behind design for repair, but it can't give you the creativity. You've got to find your own inspiration. And when it comes to creativity, there aren't any rules. There can't be, because it pulls in completely the opposite direction from rules. It's about seeing things in new ways. If there were rules for creativity, everyone would follow them, and the results would all be the same. There wouldn't be any creativity anymore. But here, I'd suggest that you experience as much as you can and investigate as much as you can, because these form the raw material for invention. And then you need to think as much as you can. Think about your problem over and over again. Think broadly and think critically, because it's not easy to have new ideas. Obviously, this can seem daunting. It can feel like an uphill struggle, especially when the world is so resistant to change, so stuck in its ways. This frustrates me and annoys me. And if it makes you angry too, that's a good thing, because you can redirect this into changing something. Here, I have two final recommendations. First, pick your battles. Some products are easier to design for repair than others, and some people are more open to buying for repair than others. If you take a smart ring, for example, a piece of high technology that you slip on your finger, and it can enable you to make contactless payments and monitor your heart rate, and that kind of thing. It's a technology which moves on quickly. It gets outdated rapidly, and it also needs to be compact and waterproof and shockproof. And smart rings are commonly bought by people who live in big cities, people with small apartments and limited facility for repair, and people who conform to the ways of the city because they have to. People for whom many decisions are made by large organizations for them, and they have to accept these for better or for worse. This doesn't fit well with designing something for repair and independence. In contrast, if you take a lawnmower, and you might think of a striped lawn as being a strangely English obsession, and also something that you can debate whether it's good for the environment or not. But a lot of people have lawns, which means a lot of people need lawnmowers. And so it's worthwhile, it's important to build lawnmowers that are durable and repairable. And lawnmowers get thrown away either because they're flimsy and they break, or because they're unappealing. And so when someone moves house, they don't even want to take it along. And it's not a technology that changes much with time. If you take a lawnmower from the 1940s or 50s that's well maintained and in good condition, it will cut the grass as well as a brand new machine. So here's an opportunity to design something not only repairable, but also something which turns a chore into a pleasure. Second, every little helps. Each small design change or small advance which favors repairability is important and delivers results, and often changes the way that people think as well. You might take an existing product and replace the security screws with ordinary screws so that the owner can easily get inside. Or change the type of capacitor used in electronics so that it's less prone to splitting open and failing. Or design a battery compartment so that it contains leakage, so that it doesn't damage the rest of the product, or one that I saw in a brochure from 1908 from a company called Oskar Krieger of Dresden that made casters for heavy loads. They could be fitted to the bottom of a trolley. And the thing that often causes these casters to wear out is the fact that the axle of the wheel is offset from the pivot of the caster, so that it swivels and follows the motion of the trolley. And this places a bending moment on that pivot bearing and wears it out quickly. So Oskar Krieger had placed a small roller directly above the axle of the wheel to take the weight, so there was no longer any bending moment on the pivot bearing. So your product doesn't have to be a beacon of repairability in the first instance. If you can start small with little changes, that's also very worthwhile. Now, I was going to talk to you about global trends, and then I thought, nah, that would be boring. And I love examples. So here I've picked 2 examples of repairable products that come from medium-sized companies that are active and successful today. The first is a battery charger made by Hawkins here in South Africa, down on the coast in Durban, where they've been making battery chargers since 1961. And here in Africa, battery chargers are more important than they are in Europe or North America because vehicles are less reliable. Flat car batteries are common, and the power grid isn't so good either. And often people have to work on these things and find their own solutions. Here, when a large eucalyptus tree fell on our power line, we learned that it would probably take a couple of weeks to get it fixed. So we had to go over there and find the broken conductors and crimp them back together ourselves. And in the same way, people plan for power outages using batteries. They'll use a charger like this to fill up a bank of batteries with energy, and then when the mains power goes off, they'll draw the direct current out of those batteries, turn it into alternating current using an inverter, and use it to power their lights and household appliances. So essentially, they're creating their own uninterruptible power supply, and they're doing it in a very repairable way. This design is all about transparency. You can see how it works and how it's put together. If we take a look inside, it's a bit like an old ham radio. You can recognize the components and trace the roots of the wires. And in the factory, the construction is a very hands-on affair. There's a label on the back saying that it was checked by Lance. It's housed inside a sturdy pressed steel case, and there's plenty of space inside if you want to carry out any modifications. The case also has some nice design details, like the feet, which also serve as cooling vents. These are pressed into the sheet metal, so there aren't any rubber feet to perish and fall off. And the top handle is a sturdy steel pressing attached with 4 pop rivets. Feet and handles are common sources of problems. They're things that break very often. Inside, it's a simple battery charger. It's a linear power supply which uses a large toroidal transformer, some range selection switches, and the only piece of electronics, a bridge rectifier on the back panel. This means that as the battery voltage rises, the charging current tapers off, but it never reaches 0, which means that you have to remember to switch it off. And this doesn't suit everyone, especially not if they want the charger for backup power. They want to be able to attach it to the battery and forget about it. And for this purpose, Hawkins sell an add-on module called the Smart Controller. It's about the size of a litre milk carton, and you attach it to the charging leads at the front. And it has some extra electronics inside, which regulates the charging current and switches it off completely when the right battery voltage is achieved. This means that you can retrofit your battery charger with this additional capability without having to buy a new one. And it also means that the electronics, which are going to be harder to repair, are kept separate. This costs about a third the price of a new battery charger. They also offer a repair service for a fixed price if your battery charger is less than 10 years old. And this is about 10 to 15% the cost of buying a new one, which means that there's a certain and affordable way to get it fixed. Overall, this is built with common sense. There aren't any secrets and there aren't any mysteries. I've set up a demonstration here with the Hawkins charger and a motorcycle battery. And I'm going to use the energy from this battery to power an electric whisk and make some batter for our final example, a waffle maker by the company Klör from Germany. So if I disconnect the charger from the battery, hook up the inverter, and there's now no mains power going in here, switch the inverter on and make some batter. So you can see this provides a good solution in areas with unreliable mains power, gives people independence. And waffles, they have a long tradition in continental Europe. The Brothers Grimm wrote about them centuries ago. And these, when the batter's finished, will be vanilla and pecan flavor. The company was started by Kaspar Klör in 1898. He was originally a blacksmith who used a forging hammer driven by a windmill. But with the advent of electric power, he quickly became interested and he started to manufacture small appliances for the home. One of his most famous was a clothes iron. And I guess at some point he thought, a waffle maker is just two electric clothes irons with batter in between them. Now the company Klör sells about 100,000 waffle makers a year, but I couldn't get one of the latest ones here in South Africa. So I got this one, which is quite old, and it's a brilliant piece of design. You don't normally think of kitchen appliances as being things that you pass down the generations, but this one you'll certainly want to. You can tell from the bulbous curves and the chrome that this appliance dates from the immediate post-war era, the time when Kaspar Klör's sons were running the company. In 1957, it cost 35 Deutschmarks, which, for comparison, is about the sum you'd have needed to spend to get a pair of stereo headphones or an analog multimeter. And the design is all about love. Love of waffles. Kaspar Klör even invented this pattern, consisting of 5 hearts in a circle. It's a heavy design, weighs about 6 kilograms, and most of that weight is in the 2 cast iron hot plates. These give it a lot of thermal mass, though, which helps to ensure an even and constant cooking temperature. So you could consider it a gentle giant. It's very forgiving. It also has some great design features, like the way that the electric wires connecting the 2 hot plates run through this tubular spring instead of through the hinge. So they're accessible, and they're also insulated using little ceramic beads, so there's no rubber to perish and fall off. Now, if I put a ball of batter in the center of the hot plate, close the top. When you close it, has an incredible feeling of precision because the two hot plates have conical rims which mate and ensure perfect alignment. And this is permitted by a little bit of play in the hinge. And the pyramids which make up the pattern of the waffle, each one has a matching depression which keeps the thickness of the batter constant. So you end up with even cooking of the waffle. Now, as the steam starts to diminish, I'm going to open the top. And if you ever have the pleasure of eating a waffle made in one of these machines, you'll get the feeling that it was designed by the god of waffles himself. These two designs show that it's possible. They are the results of other people's passions, of their life's work. And a stunning design needs some feeling behind it, some emotion. So you should be looking out for things that intrigue you, that inspire you, that incense you, and then be channeling this energy into a groundbreaking design for a repairable product today. Because if you're not doing it right now, you're not doing it at all. Now, if you're unsure, if you have questions, you can write to me. I love a challenge. This is my email address, chris@designforrepair.com. And it doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur working a 996 week in Shenzhen or a weekend warrior with your latest invention in Milwaukee. I'd be thrilled to hear from you. Design for Repair is my own passion. And if you've got a big project coming up, I'd be pleased to consult on your design or to collaborate in your academic research. Send me a message and we can talk about it. So the road starts here. It's time for you to design something great, something that people can fix and keep on fixing. Be bold and be brave.